Hey there, everyone. Back again, Red Devils Talk. Me, your host, Session, and of course, we talk about all things Manchester United. It's been a while, and there shouldn't be a case of I missed this. It is a case of just taking a break, trying to assess certain things. And we need to understand that this is not really what I do for money, to try and make it a business. No, I'm just really passionate about speaking about Manchester United. It is not easy to have to constantly get your mind right in certain moments, in certain days, but you do find yourself doing that. The human brain is so smart in the way it can be detrimental but also beneficial at the same time or at different times. But a lot has happened since the last time we've spoken, and we've signed the likes of Mason Mount, Andre Onana. We'll definitely speak about that. Maguire has been stripped of the captaincy, and we had our first preseason game against Leeds United, which we won 2-0. And in various moments, we can speak about them all in today's video. So, first of all, let's speak about Mason Mount. Now, videos before, I did say that he was a target, a priority target for Ten Hag, and he got his man. He got the midfielder that he wanted, and we might need another midfielder with the likes of Fred and McTominay, Donny van de Beek all being up for sale. We will need another midfielder, and that's something we can speak about at a later stage. But Mason Mount comes from Chelsea, and he's our number 7, as we've seen, and that is in itself was a shock to see him get that iconic jersey. But it doesn't look like it phased him. It seems like he is going to handle the pressure of being Manchester United's number 7. And in the preseason game against Leeds, he did show quality moments in the first half. Of course, match fitness is a huge thing that has come into play, but he did well. And I think with the better players around him, the first team players who were not there, the likes of Bruno, Rashford, etc., he will be a much better player even because of the quality that will be around him. And I think because Chelsea, saw him as this darling boy, like how we do our Marcus Rashford, it was a pain for them to see him leave and come to one of their rivals. And yes, we are a bigger club, and Mount has felt that already in the few weeks that he's officially been here. And Ten Hag has definitely seen him as the man to compete with Eriksen and also be that more mobile number 8, able to link defense to attack with Bruno in midfield. I think the midfield he wants to have probably will be Casemiro, Mount, and Bruno, both as a number 8 or one sitting next to Casemiro. Does not matter. Automatically, the midfield becomes better. We are allowed to play ball better, and we have another threat going forward in Mason Mount. We've seen his hard work, we've seen his work rate, and he can defend. He does press from the front, and that is part of the reason why Ten Hag has bought him, because of that enthusiasm to go and win the ball high up the pitch and be a threat in the final third. So I'm sure Mason Mount will do exactly what he is expected of him, and many people have spoken about him, and he is a consummate professional, and surely he will knuckle down and perform to the best of his ability because he knows that Eriksen can come in and basically play him out of the team. But Mount does provide a much more mobile number 8 than Christian Eriksen. But that's Mount, and we'll have to see more of him in tomorrow's friendly, the second friendly against Olympique Lyonnais. And that in itself will give him a much better chance to show more of himself because the likes of Bruno, Rashford, etc. are back now training and will be part of tomorrow's game, surely. So we will see more of Mason Mount as the season goes on, and I'm sure he will be a success and a benefit to our team as a whole. Andre Onana, I think that was the biggest thing that Ten Hag wanted to sort out, because we all know De Gea left as a free agent. Not in the best way, I might add. I'm not really happy with the way he left. It was time for him to go. He needed to be replaced. Not because he's not a good goalkeeper. No, he got the Golden Glove and many a times got Player of the Year at Manchester United. So in itself, he's not a bad goalkeeper. He's literally been added to the legends section in the Man United app and on the website. And we know he's a legend. He's got the highest clean sheet count ever of any Manchester United goalkeeper. That is legendary status already. Sir Alex was the one to bring him in, and in the beginning it looked shaky, but he does and then progressed and became a number one goalkeeper. At the time, he was the best goalkeeper in the world. But football evolves, tactics evolve, and it became more apparent that goalkeepers need to play with their feet as well. We know this, and because of that, many mistakes were made by De Gea at the back because of not being that good with the ball by his feet. It did seem like a detrimental problem for him. But then again, on the other hand, he also made a few mistakes in crucial games. You look at the FA Cup final against City. Speaking of them, I haven't even mentioned that they won the treble. It doesn't even faze me. How do you even talk about that when it absolutely is not something that they won on merit? In my opinion, I'm still going to say they bought their success. That is the reason why nobody cares that they won a treble. And it is a treble. You can say it's the treble, but it's not the same as when we won ours. But that is another discussion that I don't want to get into, because we know exactly where we stand on that. Nobody cares about City's treble. It's been seen on social media, and it's been seen in the general real world, if I have to put it that way. But Andre Onana comes in. Fabrizio has given the here we go. David Ornstein also confirms it. And he is and will be our new number one. That for me is a much more exciting signing than Mason Mount. Mason Mount definitely is a signing of good quality. He's a good player, etc. But us losing De Gea and not having a goalkeeper, that was a problem. Just as much as we don't have a striker, which is another topic that we get to speak about, with the likes of Rasmus Hojlund being that number one target right now and the player that we are going for, because Onana's deal is done. Of course, he needs to do his medical. Of course, he needs to be officially unveiled. But we know that he is going to be Manchester United's number one. And that is a huge, huge step forward for Ten Hag and the way he wants to play and where he wants to take Manchester United. A goalkeeper that is the best in the world right now at playing out from the back and having the ball at his feet. We saw in the Champions League final, I almost said Manchester City final. Why would I even say that? It's because they were in my head when I mentioned them about the treble. But that just shows how irrelevant they are. They come up in the most dumbest of moments for irrelevant conversation. But Guardiola himself said that Onana was a threat in that final for them, with the way he was able to play the ball through their lines easily. And you've seen the passes, you've seen the compilations. For those that have even watched the game, saw how scared City was to press him because of his ability to find players in space, and not just by playing balls over the top, but passes through the lines, beating the press that City was trying to apply onto him. He beat it with ease. The amount of composure that he shows on the ball is absolutely insane. How composed is he? And yes, it is a bit of a risk-reward situation because he will make mistakes. He will perhaps lose the ball and we might concede, or it might come into Martinez or someone having to save him after he makes the mistake. But that's normal. That's the risk reward we get. For those who remember, we had a goalkeeper called Fabian Barthez, and he himself was a ball-playing goalkeeper, and he made mistakes, but he was excellent with the ball at his feet. Van der Sar was just as good with the ball at his feet and made mistakes here and there. Maybe kicked the ball out and it came to an opponent player and we conceded. We need to expect and be prepared for that, and not call him a flop and say things like, oh, De Gea would have done better, or De Gea would have saved that. Because he is just as good with his hands as he is with his feet. He had the highest clean sheet percentage in the Champions League, in Europe. And in terms of saves per 90, he definitely makes more than David De Gea, than Edison and Alisson, and that was in Serie A. Now, of course, the league quality and strength is not the same, but he is still a goalkeeper. He did his job. He kept his clean sheets. He kept the ball out of the net for Inter. And if I have to go back to the final. If Romelu Lukaku scored, they probably would have won that final because he definitely made the necessary saves and played the ball well enough for them to have chances. So Ten Hag definitely getting his former number one that he had at Ajax at that crucial time when they were busy on their way close to being in the Champions League final where they beat the likes of Real Madrid, etc. He was their goalkeeper and now he is our goalkeeper. So I'm excited to see Andre Onana definitely be Manchester United's number one and see exactly how we evolve now by having a goalkeeper that can play out from the back. So, Harry Maguire stripped of the captaincy. That in itself is something that should have happened a long, long time ago. That's me being honest, guys. I never agreed with the fact that Ole made Maguire captain. He came in, £80 million, huge pressure, huge attention, and absolutely failed as a captain. He was given the captaincy even before kicking a ball in a Manchester United jersey. That didn't even make sense. And last season, he barely got enough game time to accumulate 10 games as a captain. So how could he have been shocked, as he said in his statement after Ten Hag made the decision and the club made the decision public that he is no longer captain, as Ten Hag told him. He was never captain material. I look back to a moment where we lost 4-1 to Watford, Ole's last game. He got the red card in that game. And Bruno went to the fans and told the fans that it is not Ole's fault, it is the players' fault as well because of that loss. That's what a captain does, taking responsibility when the team is down in the dumps. Look at the Carabao Cup final. We moved it all the way into penalties. Where was Maguire? Was he walking around probably singing a tune to himself in his head? Whereas Bruno was encouraging. You could see on the video he was walking to every single player, talking to them, telling them what they need to do, motivating them, giving them energy that they didn't have. We ended up winning the Carabao Cup. Yes, on penalties. Doesn't matter. We won it. That is the point. Sorry, not on penalties. We won it 2-0. I'm thinking of the game before that, where we won on penalties. Either way, Bruno seems to be Ten Hag's captain. And 95% of the season when Bruno played, he was captain. So I think the new captain probably will be Bruno. And that in itself should definitely not bother anyone. We've seen his captaincy duties when he even didn't have the armband. And we've seen how the team plays when he is in the team. So definitely him being captain will also elevate the team because now they know for a fact he is the leader of the club, player-wise. Ten Hag is the man. He is the man that is ruthless. Got rid of Ronaldo. He changed the captaincy. He ensured that he's going to get who he wants. And thus far, he's gotten everything that he wants. Rasmus Hojlund is the next person that would come in. That in itself is a prospect, but he's not a striker that's going to come in and score 20 plus goals for us, taking us to win the league and winning the Champions League. Not next season though. But we do need a striker. That is so crucial for everyone to see. We do need a striker. We don't have a striker. We won 2-0. It was two youngsters that scored the goal. Joe Hugel, Noam Emmerich. We don't have a striker. Martial is injured and preseason started. Who do we look to? The season is less than a month away. The first Premier League game against Wolves is a month away. Less than a month away. And we don't have a striker. The Glazers haven't left yet. I was gone from doing videos for so long and nothing has happened in the takeover. Not a word or a article coming out saying that they've decided to sell, that these are the final people that they're going to speak to, whether it's the Sir Jim or Qatar. Either way, nothing has been said about the takeover, and that is frustrating in itself because it is keeping Ten Hag back. Not saying that if a new owner comes in now, he will be able to spend millions. No. I think that with a new owner at least coming in, we will have better handling on our transfer strategies and there would be more money for Ten Hag to tap into. But so far, we've gotten Mount, we've gotten Onana, Hojlund seems to be the next one coming in, and perhaps another midfielder. Sofian Amrabat is the one that is spoken about the most, but we'll see when that actually does become concrete. We'll definitely speak about it. But thank you guys for joining me. As always, subscribe to the channel. Definitely drop a like as well. It does help the channel out. As I said before, I'm just passionate about speaking about Manchester United. But we'll speak again in the next one. We know that we are playing Lyon tomorrow. Enjoy the game no matter where you might be watching it, whether you are there or streaming it online somewhere. Enjoy the game. And we definitely will look to at least want to get another win under our belt. But match fitness is what is important, guys. The results do not matter in preseason. It is all about tactics, all about getting to know one another, especially the new signings that have to embed into the team and get used to the players. It's more about getting fit. That is the main point of preseason. So, till we speak again, which will probably be, after that preseason game against Lyon. And hopefully we're speaking about another Manchester United win. Till we speak again, guys. Bye-bye.